I'm thinking that I'm not gonna do raids anymore. What is going on, everybody? This is Kev the Barber with another classic, and I want to thank you guys for all the support that you guys have been giving me. It's crazy. I did not think so much people would be interested in my opinion. There won't be any number value added to the photos anymore because I think people are getting caught up on that. It's not really about what that number is. I just added that in there because, I don't know, they used to do that on Instagram and I thought it would be cool, but I knew what I was getting into. I knew there could have been people who would feel some sort of way or something like that. I was told I'm not that good a barber to be giving critiques by somebody in the comments last video. Anybody could be giving their opinion. That's number one. Like, just to let you guys know, you could give your opinion. It doesn't matter. It only validates it if somebody cares to hear it, you know, and you guys care to hear it. So I'm gonna give it to you guys. If you wanna hear my opinion, I'm gonna give it to you. It's interesting that somebody would wanna waste their time or use their time to critique my critiques because they don't think I'm good enough, when you can easily not watch the video, or you can easily just not watch the video. I don't know, but if you guys want to hear it, let me know in the comment section below. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you want me to continue these videos, because the point of this whole thing is for you guys. I want you guys to benefit, and I want to feel like I'm doing something. Last but not least, somebody on Instagram is trying to tell me that I'm ducking and dodging because I'm not allowing the messages. I'm not allowing the messages because I don't want my DMs to blow up. When I start allowing messages like I first did, I start mixing up photos and some people don't get it, other people don't. It's just hard to keep track if I don't keep them in that section. So without further ado, let's get to this video. Okay, so just to start off with this photo, I don't know what's happening here. That's the number one thing I'd have to say about it, because it doesn't, I mean, it's not realistic. There's no way there's four of the same person, you know, combined up and down and side by side. Of course, we don't expect that to happen, but I think there needs to be a realistic aspect with these pictures. I don't know what's on top of its head. You don't want to leave anything up to question. If there's a picture, you want to make it as realistic as possible, as if I am seeing it in real time. The fade is okay, but still the lineup looks a little sketch. This looks a little white. Shy the Barber, I want to say. Shy the Barber. Yeah, that's what I gotta say to you, bro. I need there to be more space in between the levels that you've created. So here's a bald. It looks like you use an edger to bald that out, and then you kind of like, your 0 had a tiny little space, and then your 1 had a bit more space, and then I think you may have used clipper over comb or something. I don't know, but there's just not enough space here for each level, so it looks a bit, it doesn't look transitional. Fade needs to be spread out. I see no lines though. That's perfect. There's no lines. There's no harsh lines. This cut is not too bad. It's not too bad. The lineup is smooth, but one thing I can definitely tell from this cut is that it's not consistent. Dante Scott, the problem I have is, one, here's a line right here. I'm glad you showed the whole cut. Not that everybody has to do that, but it definitely shows me, I can show you what I think about the whole entire cut. Here's a line right here. You need to definitely knock that out. Use clipper over comb or use the corner of the blade in order to get that out. It's a little bit blocked right here. Like I said, I have trouble with this as well, where you have to, when I'm done with the cut, I typically try and go back over. Sometimes that doesn't even work, but overall, I try my best to make it transitional. But this is, transition is something I'm currently working very hard on to make it as perfect as possible. Let's look at the back. I want to say this is the same side because you can see the line right here. But you see a light spot here, and then it gets dark right here. You can tell this person worked in quadrants. Quadrants are fine, but it looks like you didn't, you should create layers and then fade out one layer around the head each time so that it can be consistent. It looks like you probably faded all of one side and then tried to fade more. I feel like professionals who have a workflow like that can do that, but it's definitely one of the worst ways to fade, simply because it's difficult to stay consistent while doing that. Hazy, it's a bit hazy, like I said, realistic. But that's fine. If that's the style you want to go, I'm not knocking people who have their own niche to do certain things, but personally I want to go as realistic as possible. I think this cut is clean a bit. I feel like you should have combed this before you took the pic just to see what it would have looked like. The fade is alright. You can see that it's a kind of consistent, for the most part. I don't know what's happening down here. I'd want to see an angle closer to like the back of the head like that, so I can see what is exactly happening here. But I want to say this is bald, and then it looks like there's hair down here, so it's weird. I'd want to see another picture, as I was saying. There's little frilly hairs back here. If you just take the clippers and freehand it right up here, it will make the cut look so amazing. I feel like saying transition is very vague. All that means is there needs to be space in between each guideline that you make. Each guard that you use, you go from the 0, which the no guard, which is no guard on it, to the 0 guard, we're talking about Andis here, to the 1, to the 2, to the 3. Each level needs to have more spaces. The one that usually has the least spaces, the 0 guard or the half guard for wall, because they intertwine with both the no guard and 1, so they connect, you know, kind of together. But yeah, that's what I have to say about this one. On Nico the Barber, this is a pretty good fade. I really like the consistency, but you can still see this block right here. You could have use what you just used before. Use what you created this guideline with, which would be this whole area right here, whatever this level is. Use that to use the corner of the blade and just go like this around the thing right there. If it doesn't work, then you need to go a little bit higher, and then when you do that, you can kind of create more difference between the two. So that's when you need to toggle the sidearm. I call that feathering or notching. I can do a video on that, but for now you can definitely search notching or feathering technique for barbering, and you can see that on YouTube, and that would definitely pretty much perfect this cut here. For me, I try and trim the front of the hair so that the hairline looks a bit better instead of having this bulge. I don't really like that, but certain people like tend to want to grow their hair out and put it in braids or something like that. This would take that capability away. You'd have to cut down the front. Some people don't like that, other people do. You got to understand what your client is going to look for. When I see a high top like this, I ask my client, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to grow out your hair? Because if you're trying to grow out your hair, I can ask you if you want the fronts trimmed or not. And if you aren't trying to grow your hair, if you're just having a high top, then I can just trim the front and make it look like a perfect high top. After Rod keeps blessing me, I'm pretty sure he's talking about God. Yeah, but whatever. I don't know who this is, but this fade is okay. This fade is okay. You can tell that he faded it and then tapered it. It's interesting. I feel like it should have been, it's either you taper it high up into this transition, because you can see two sections. Here's a section where he faded this corner, then there's a section where he faded this whole thing right here, which is fine, but you need to make sure that it's not two different fades. It looks like they're two different fades. I don't know how this looks on the side, but it seems like this person knows what they're doing. I'll tell you that. They definitely are a barber or something. They've been doing this for some time, as most of the people I've seen today. Yeah, it just needs to be more transitional, it needs to be connected. No, the Barber, I want to say that is. This fade is alright. After, this is what I gotta say. After you do your guidelines and you fade those out, you're not done. You need to go back over it. And that's what I feel like you didn't do here, because it looks good. It looks like you did the steps and you did it well, but you just didn't touch up this kind of dark line right here and this kind of dark line right here. I'm only being picky simply because this person looks like they know what I'm talking about. You know, like this is just need to be a little more specific to detail, but the fade is good. It just needs a little more details here and there. Okay, this fade is all right. This fade is okay. Well, the fade, I really like the fade. I'll tell you that. I really like the fade. I think the picture needs to be sharper. You need to wipe your lens off. I think you took this on an iPhone or some phone like that, and wipe your lens off and, you know, focus on the haircut, because it's hard to look at a picture when it's not fully sharp. You know, I know I've posted a picture like that and it really bugs me to this day. But it's really hard for me to delete pictures because I always like looking back and I like showing you guys how I developed. So sometimes I just leave it up there so you can see my mistakes. And here I think this is a straight line and it kind of makes an L right here. It's kind of been, you know, I feel like it needs to be more curved. You need to curve that a bit. The way I do curves, I do a line here, then I do a line here, and use the corner of the blade, and I, you know, just freestyle it and then curve it. This looks like you just took it up here, then you took it too far. You need to, that's why you need to start from the middle of the head when you're doing the hairline, because when you put it in the middle of the head, you can do the corners and then connect the line, and then it looks, you know, it looks like a straight line. That's the brain connects things. If you look at like I'm gonna be a psychology major real quick, but there are words, when you take out the vowels in words, right? You don't need to see the vowels to know what the word is, because you fill it in. Your brain fills in what's left out and what you expect to see, because you're used to seeing certain things. So if you've now trained your brain to know where the straight line is, you put a straight line in the middle after, you know, some practice, you know exactly what the line is supposed to look. And then you get to the point where you don't even need to put anything on the hairline. You can just look at the hairline and know what it's supposed to look like. And that's what we're trying to get to. Make this thing a natural. Challenge yourself to continue to look at the things that you lack so that you can get better. Cannot see the fade. I can't see the fade. So I want you guys to, unless you want me to just look at the hairline, because that's what it is. It's just a hairline right now. You can see frillies up here. It needs to be trimmed down. Kind of see the fade, but I can't really judge it because I can't see it. So truly, make sure you send a photo that I can see. Hairline is okay. Looks like it's kind of waved out, like when you cut it one time and then some hairs moved, some hair got cut. Make sure you keep cutting that, or use some spritz so that you can cut it down and make it sharp. You want to make sure all the hairs are sticking out like this and cut. There's hair sticking out and cut, but there's hair here moving. So that's the very, very vital trick that changed my entire hairline career when I was in high school. That was a very, very important tip. This fade is immaculate. Immaculate. The lineup, you probably should have cut this, shaped that up. Looks like you used some dye here. I have nothing bad to say about dyes. That's where barbering is moving. That's where people like some. If your customer likes it, then give it. So yeah, it looks like a nice cut. It needs to line up here. You can still kind of see darkness here. Yeah, but the transition is good. I really like this overall fade. This is very close to perfect. By the way, let me know what you guys think about no rating, because I really don't like it, so I'm not doing it. But if you guys really liked it and you still want to hear me rate for some reason, I can, but I just know what that entails, what it creates, what happens. So yeah. Now back to this, transitions. You can see that obviously this is all one level. I know some haircuts definitely have that trait. There is no lines here. This person knows how to fade. That's a fact. But I would say just make it a bit more transitional. And like I said, this is a little awkward to me. It's just not that much difference. There's something in cameras called dynamic range. Just to make it dummy proof, from very light to very dark, right? Dynamic range is your ability to capture all of those things. And here there's not that much dynamic range, because this right here is not that far from this up here. You see what I'm saying? Yes, you're cutting hairs, but if you simplify it down to shades, you'll be able to look at photos and fades a little different. It'll help you fine-tune your fades a bit better. If you look at it from lightness to darkness, you can also look for lines. Make sure you're grading your fades and other people's fades just like that. This fade is good too. This fade is also good. I'd want you to clean it off. I sometimes forget it and just post it, so you can look at my photos too and see what I've done and look for the little hairs. Let me know. Okay, back to this fade. It's good. I can see a line right here. Feathering, notching. It's a nice little comb over here. I think you could have used a thinning shear or a scissors or clipper over comb to make this a little cleaner. But overall, this fade is great. The lineup is great. I think if you brush this away, the line would look a lot better. I like this little thing here too. So you can kind of see that this is a little patched. There's a line right here that needs to be faded out, but it's still overall a good cut. This is perfect. This is perfect on this side. You can see your Bengay, or it looks like Bengay, which is a skin dye or fills in light spots. Like I said, lightness, darkness, and that's what Bengay is for. It makes it darker so that you can see more definition and dynamic range. It's interesting. This beard is good. I mean, you can still kind of see, it doesn't look natural. That's the only problem I have with it. Too much Bengay. But this beard looks better than this beard. But this fade looks better than this fade. Consistency. That's what you're looking for. Consistency. If you had this fade all around and this fade all around and this beard fade all around, it would have been a better cut. You can see this hair is a little messed up here. You can tell that you definitely dyed the skin. And that's the point of these Bengays and all these different things. Make sure you know that the skin wasn't dyed. There was nothing to enhance this photo, and it looks like there was. The lineup in the front could have been sharper. So make sure you work on these things, the details, guys. Fade is great. This fade is great. He looks like he has a cut here. That's not anything that I'm grading, so you guys know. This fade is amazing. I can tell you stopped at the stubble right here. I think it would have been extremely great if you brought up this thing a bit more, because this whole area, I'm gonna box it, right? This whole area is closed to a little bit open, Andis or wall or whatever. So you want to make sure that there's more dynamic range. Look at us learning photography terms. I would like to have had this fade. You can see this line. It's just small imperfections, details, like I always say. Interesting fade. Interesting. I really like this. Is dynamic range. You see how light this is and how dark this is? You definitely had the dynamic range going here. The lineup is sharp. I feel like you could have, you did kind of shape the hair. I think you should either shape it or don't touch it. I don't know what he wanted. You can see there's hair here, and you did try it. Just make sure you go over that. I hear that you can go over it with scissors. Again, I'm not too good with my freehand scissor work. That's one thing I definitely want to learn when I go to barber school. Freehand scissor work is that, and straight hair clients is something I want to personally improve on a lot. This fade is not too bad. If we look at the line right here, we can see it a bit more. We can kind of notch that out, or use a clipper over comb, or use scissor over comb. Different techniques, and that's the thing. If you know all these different techniques and one isn't working, you can just go to another one, or just go to another one, or go to another one. That's why when I'm doing cuts, I want to make sure I know how to do every single technique. Over time, you'll have your own workflow that you like to do, but generally, if you know every technique and know it as good as your favorite techniques, then you can just do it whenever you feel like doing it. Or if you don't have a clipper, you can just use a scissor. Or if your scissors are dull, you can just use your clipper. You're never caught off guard, which is basically why I'm trying to learn every single technique and perfect every single one, as everybody should.